This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Be aware I am not a medical doctor, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. But I hope you still enjoy. Hey friends, welcome to the Gluten Free Advocate, a Substack and podcast that helps me process my health journey and my determination to pretend that those health conditions don't exist at all. If you're looking for tips, tricks, and learnings for traveling the world with celiac disease and type 1.5 diabetes, you have come to the right place. Now, let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Gluten Free Advocate. I am so excited for you guys to listen to this episode today. I am chatting with Sarah from Celiac Sarah Explores, and she is one of the more special people that I've had the good fortune of speaking to on this podcast. I know that I talked a lot about previously going on an Australian trip and if you want to listen to past episodes of how that whole trip went down, but the number one takeaway from that trip was the people. And Sarah and her husband KJ were people that were so instrumental in keeping my wits about me, because I think a lot of people thought I was freaking out and panicking, but I wasn't. That's my normal. And Sarah and KJ are big reasons of why I was able to do that, because when you're in their presence, you just immediately feel comfortable and safe, and like somehow all these things are going to work out. And I will never forget, I hope I never forget, as long as I live, Sarah is someone I had been following for a long time on social media and really admired, and just a really great person to get tips and things from. And we talk more about that on the episode. As far as traveling, she's the mecca of celiac travel. And I was put in a group chat with her randomly, and I didn't even realize it was with her. And once I realized I was going to be on a celiac cruise with Sarah, I was like, okay, I had to prep myself that I had to act cool, be calm, be collected, and don't be too much of a fangirl. And I immediately blew it. I was never cool, calm, or collected in her presence, and was always internally freaking out and always doing the most with my personality, but that is not a reflection on them. And Sarah really helped me feel like my voice matters on that trip. I was telling her how I wasn't sure if it was necessary for me to do a podcast, or why did I need to do things on social media. And she let me know that my voice had value and that it was worth sharing my travel stories, and who knows who it could help, or who knows who it could inspire. And Sarah is the embodiment of what I try to be every day, which is there's enough room for all of us at the top, and I can only bask in your reflected glow. Now, I try to go that way as much as I can with my life, but that's just who Sarah is. She is someone that will reach her hand down, pull you up with her, and she just will bask in your reflected glow and celebrate your wins. And even if you are feeling down about a moment, she is there to tell you, nope, you're going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you're going to keep going, because there's value here with you. So I hope you get a little piece of that and in this conversation, and find out so many more things and realize how much I adore Sarah. And by the end of this conversation, I hope you are equally as inspired by her as I am. So I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm going to let you listen to this podcast episode, and all the links to follow Sarah and her username and all that fun stuff, all in the show notes. So make sure you check her out. Till next time, friends. Enjoy. Sarah, we finally got you on. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. So excited to be here.
This is, I said this to you to your face. I've been following you for a while, which is the most creeper thing to say, but I know that you know what I mean. And getting to meet you in person, you more than lived up to every hope and dream that I had that you would be. And I'm so happy to call you a friend. So I'm this is going to be a little weird interviewing you because I feel like I know the answers to the questions that I'm asking, but so excited to get to talk to you today.
It'll be such a great conversation. It was so great meeting you in January, and yeah, can't wait to talk.
So this is how I start every interview, and I know the answer to this, but we're just going to recap it anyway. Do you mind sharing your celiac diagnosis story?
Absolutely. So in 2021, I was 23 years old, just getting routine blood work, and the tests came back wonky. Everything was kind of off. And thankfully, I had great doctors who did a lot of follow up appointments. And the entire diagnosis was less than a year. And I'm so grateful for that because I feel like I
Wow.
got answers very quickly, although it was stressful at the time. I actually was able to get it so quickly because my colonoscopy and endoscopy that was scheduled was going to be way in the future, but they got a last minute cancellation, called me, and I was like, yes. So that sped it up by probably like 3 months, which was
Wow.
crazy. But
Jeez.
the there were a lot of things wrong with the blood work, but something I always mention is elevated liver enzymes because that was really like a key indicator for my doctors to then dig a little bit deeper. I
Wow.
got like an ultrasound on my liver and everything, but it was ultimately then the endoscopy that diagnosed celiac officially.
That's nice that you got both in one go too, because I've had to get them done separately, and it's like a fresh form of torture to have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've never
Uh,
had the colonoscopy on its own, but
yeah.
I've had a second endoscopy since, and that was so much easier not having to do the colonoscopy prep. Like the endoscopy was like I feel like nothing in comparison to the that colonoscopy prep is tough.
And what did you know about celiac before your diagnosis? Did you have to start from square one when you were given that diagnosis, or had it been out in the world enough that you were like, oh, I have some vague idea of what this is?
Yeah, I actually kind of knew more people than I realized when I was first
Okay.
diagnosed. Like one of my neighbors and good friends from childhood, she has celiac, and so
Wow.
got connected with her very quickly. They kind of reconnected about it, and we ended up going to one of the, I forget which festival, but like a gluten free festival. And on the drive there, I was asking her all these questions. I was just like, what? Even though I knew what celiac and I knew what gluten free was, I didn't realize, and I don't think you ever realize the full
Right.
toll that it's going to take learning all the details, learning what cross contact is, just learning how to go about daily life. It's a completely different mental shift. So
Yeah.
that obviously took a lot of time and healing to learn, and there will always probably be learning. But
Yeah.
yeah, thankfully I had a couple people in my life that I could go to quickly.
Yeah. So at the beginning when we first started this and when I first met you of the I've been following you for a while, I had a thirst for travel and just wanted to feel like I could go anywhere. And you were one of the first accounts that I started following to be able to understand what that means to travel with celiac disease. And I was diagnosed in 2010, so a bit delayed in getting information. I'm sure I followed you right when you were first really starting to kick off. And it's so inspiring because I feel like whenever I have a new place I add to the bucket list, I go, oh, I'll just wait till Sarah does it, and then I'll follow her journey, and then I'll figure it out later. So, first, I'm curious of when did the love for travel start for you?
Yeah, my love for travel has pretty much always been there. My parents, when they were in their 20s, lived in Japan for a couple years. And so I just always grew up looking at their pictures and hearing their stories about this crazy experience they had. And I thought that was really fascinating. And then we took trips as a family, but we didn't really go international or anything. But when I started dating my now husband in high school, he was really passionate about traveling and seeing new places. And it kind of opened my eyes up to the world. And it's so grand and big and amazing. And I feel like all of that combined was a perfect storm for falling in love with traveling and just getting out there and seeing the world. I had traveled to maybe like 10 countries pre celiac diagnosis. maybe less.
Okay.
But I'd done a bit of traveling. And so when I got that diagnosis, it really felt like, okay, I don't even know how to eat on a daily basis. How am I going to eat in a different country on a trip? This just feels like too much.
Right.
But because it is such an important part of our lives, and I'm very committed to continuing to do things that I love, including traveling, I just decided that it was not going to hold me back. And I'm proud of myself reflecting back on that woman like 4 years ago, just decide 5 years ago. Wow. Just deciding to go for it. I was on a plane like very quickly after that diagnosis. I actually was on a trip already when the doctor called. I was in Vermont for the fall foliage.
And where was your first trip after diagnosis that you went to?
We did a road trip in California and Nevada.
Okay.
In a van, and so that was really manageable because you have kitchen with you all the time. But then soon after that, maybe it was like 2-3 months after my diagnosis, we went to Barcelona, and thankfully it's a great city for gluten free, one of the best ones to like kind of go into it. But I didn't know I needed to book a gluten free meal. I didn't like I learned so many lessons on that trip that I hold to this day. And yeah, just went for it.
That's crazy. I love that. And I love that KJ is such a big part of the travel part of your story, too. Getting to meet him, too. One of the funniest people in the world.
He's going to love that. That's going to be a great compliment for him.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me, but yes. And I feel like, too, you both put people at such ease that I'm sure I'm gonna project onto you that he must have been such like a good calming force as you were navigating all of this, because I feel like he's the how are the dynamics between the two of you? Is that okay to talk about? We can cut this and go to something else if you don't want to talk about that, but
yeah, absolutely. No, we're all good. Yeah, he's such a steady presence always.
Yes.
Obviously, when I got the call, he was there with me, and it was just us, and we were traveling together. So it was like, whoa, from the beginning, he was just like, okay. We went to the store right after that, didn't know how to read labels. Thankfully, Vermont, this small town, like had a gluten-free pizza, and like I remember ordering a sandwich, and KJ was standing there with me, and we were like ordering it. And the guy asked me if it needed to be in a separate toaster. And I was like, I don't know. Does it need to be in a separate toaster? I've just learned this like an hour ago. But yeah, KJ has been by my side through it all. My biggest supporter. And we did get married last year, and celiac diagnosis, him being there for me, gluten-free was a common theme in not only our vows but our speeches from family members and friends too. So he's a good one.
He is a good one. I appreciate him being an ally to the community very much. And I know that you travel all the time, like literally all the time. You were right now on a full year of travel. And I'm very honored I got to be part of the start of that year of travel on the Celiac cruise in Australia, which that was kind of the perfect scenario of watching how everybody took it when things don't go according to plan, which is something that happens all the time when you're traveling. And when you're celiac, it feels like tenfold, but at least we were on a celiac cruise at the time that things were not going according to plan. You were pretty open on social media a couple weeks ago, not even that you had gotten glutened on your travels. How do you cope, deal with things that are going wrong on your travels, and kind of, because you're also a very calming presence, by the way. It's hard to imagine you getting frazzled. So how do you walk through asking for a friend? Maybe that's me. How do you make sure that you keep your wits about you?
Absolutely. And I also get frazzled. I feel like with traveling, it's especially with celiac, it's just hard. It can be hard on your body, it's hard on your mind. Especially for me in my life right now, doing a full year of travel. We haven't been, how many weeks have we been traveling? Close to like 2 months, like on this like specific trip. And so you're just learning more about yourself and, you know, your frazzled moments every day. And it's all feedback. Um, so with my celiac disease, and I just feel like with how I just want to say I'm a very cautious person. Even though I travel a lot, I ask so many questions when I get to a new restaurant. I'm booking places with a kitchen so I can cook for myself. I'm reading labels. Even the other week, we were scanning labels of sunscreen because it doesn't really matter because you're not ingesting it, but everybody's different. And I don't know, different languages is just hard. So I'm very like cautious, even though I'm putting myself out there and doing all these things. I don't like getting sick, which I'm sure all of us don't. So doing those things ahead of time and planning, I know Ashley, you're such a planner too, really helps. Really helps me get less frazzled, and then knowing how to roll with the punches and just knowing that things are gonna not go to plan also is so helpful, and just putting yourself in that mindset of like, okay, this place isn't open, where are we pivoting next? Because I've already done the research, I know you've already done the research.
Right.
Where are we
Right.
moving towards? And how it's really helpful to be with KJ too, because I feel like it allows both of us to be frazzled at different moments, and one of us will be
Mm-hmm.
calm, and ideally both of us are calm and everything's going well. But you know, that's traveling. Sometimes you don't
Yeah.
get to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
speaking of getting to choose, you do get to choose where you go. So, how do you figure that out for yourself of where you're going to go in your bucket list places?
My bucket list is quite long, so that's a little hard. Actually, maybe it's not hard. It's just easy because I want to see so many places. A personal goal is to travel to over 100 countries with celiac. So I'm we're chugging along. I'm at 34, I think. Hopefully by the end of this year, I'll be over 50. Um,
Yeah.
and there's just the not that it's just a metric for me to measure and remind myself it's just a number, but these places are places and they have culture and these experiences. That's what I'm prioritizing too. But I also just am an analytic person, and I do like a tracker and a plan. So I do lots of research on finding different places, but I feel like I consume a lot of travel media and have a lot of friends that travel to cool places. So I'm always talking about traveling and adding places to my bucket list. So it's hard
Yeah.
to choose because there's so many to choose from, but at the same time, it's easy. There's so many places to go.
How did you, because you went on an African safari, and that is something that I never even thought could be on my list until seeing that you went and you survived and you came out the other end. And I would say the more I've traveled, the more I'm intrigued by the idea of going on an African safari, or you've gone through Asia as well. What makes you feel like, okay, I'm gonna figure out going on traveling through Africa, which is notoriously the most difficult continent for traveling with celiac? How does that come about in your planning?
Absolutely. There's so much planning always, but we've actually been on two separate safaris. One of them was to Kenya and Tanzania, and we did go through a travel agency. We plan all of
Okay.
our trips usually just by ourselves, but this one we
Yeah.
did a travel agency, which really gave me some peace of mind, especially in
Yeah.
regards to the gluten free celiac
Yeah.
experience. And honestly, it was 2 weeks and it was incredible. I tell everyone about going on safari. It just alters your experience in life. And so, if anyone has the opportunity to do it, I'm a huge advocate for it. And it was one of the best gluten free experiences that I've had, from like
Oh, wow.
feeling comfortable. I was able at the 4 places that we stayed, maybe we stayed at 5 places. I spoke to the chef of the hotel resort at each one of them before every single meal sometimes. And sometimes Like one of them, he was making my meal. The head chef of the hotel we were at was making the gluten-free meal for me, and he was really excited to do it because it was different, it was exciting, it was like, I guess, a challenge too. It wasn't always the best food because sometimes I feel like they were learning how to, especially bake gluten-free bread. Sometimes that wasn't it, but it was just a phenomenal experience in
They were
so many
trying.
aspects.
Yeah.
They were trying, and they
Yeah.
wanted to make you feel safe. Like the hospitality was just incredible.
I love that. And like I said, I feel like when there's things that I'm interested in, I wait till you go through it and I watch on social media. And then I am like, okay, I can maybe do it now. So thank you for being the pioneer for all of us.
So I don't know if you had mentioned this, but I did get glutened a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it was really a tough experience, especially because I asked all these questions and
Right.
showed my translation card and researched the restaurant ahead of time, 30 plus safety reviews and all that jazz, and still ended up getting sick. And that doesn't happen to me often. I'm lucky to say because I have all my systems and tools in place, but it really stinks when it does. And so I did
Yeah.
share that on social media because I wanted to, it's not always amazing traveling with
Yeah.
celiac. I'm so grateful for the opportunity and I love doing it, but it does come with cons. It's not always
Yeah.
fabulous. And so when I shared that, someone messaged back and said, "You're really just putting your body on the line for us. Like, thank you." And I was like, "You're welcome. Like, we're all doing it for each other when we travel." And then,
Yeah.
you spread the word, you tell your friend, and then we all are better when we have each other's backs and we're helping each other out.
I also, and not to embarrass you, because you saying that is something that I wanted to make sure I said publicly, because I've said this to you privately as well. That is something you mentioned, like we all do this for each other. You are really good at, I feel like we're in a culture right now where influencers are our new celebrities, and there's like a distance that happens. And even in the celiac community, like there are the celebrities of celiac right now that we're having. And I consider you to be one of them because you are someone that has a lot of influence in this community. And the most impressive thing about you that separates you from everybody is how kind and how much you don't separate yourself from all of it. You may think of yourself as an influencer and that it's your job and all that, but you talk to everybody of like, well, you can do this too, and it's important that you are part of this, of what we're all doing. And I really, like, I had such a confidence boost after spending 8 days with you on a ship where we didn't go anywhere but be on a ship together and where you would challenge me and be like, but you can do this and you can share your story and it does have value. And you're one of the voices in my head that when I feel like, oh, there's no need for my voice to be out there and there's no need to do this podcast, I'm like, well, Sarah says I can. So
And
thank
I
you
believe it.
for the way that you are.
Oh, that is so sweet. And yeah, I think it rings true. Like it's all about community. And the world
Yeah.
is crazy and hard sometimes. So why not have each other's backs and just be a part of it? Because we all know what we're going through. And not everyone knows that. So what a beautiful part of being in this community.
Yeah, you're just the best. But you mentioned translation cards. Would you like to talk about Equal Eats? Because I know that you've done some work with them and that you use those everywhere you go. So would you be able to share with the community about that a little bit more?
Absolutely. I love Equal Eats. I've been using their cards since I started traveling years ago, and now on this year-long world trip, traveling to so many places, and especially I'm in Asia right now, so I've been to a few Asian countries, and that translation is really hard for me because I don't speak the languages, and so I want to make sure I'm communicating my needs to them. And so Equal Eats has these translation cards for celiac disease and other allergens and dietary restrictions. They have them in, I think, 50, 70 plus languages, so many languages. And so before every trip, I get them. And they also have an app. So if you don't want the physical card, you can have the app, and that changes through all of the languages on your phone, so very accessible. But I particularly love the physical card. My I'm in Bangkok right now. I've been in Thailand, and so my Thai allergen card is like a little banged up. It's scratched because I've been using it so much. I'm like, here, take it in the kitchen, like show everyone that I am celiac. So it's just such a great tool. It's something I always have in my backpack, never leaving on a trip without it.
I love that. And every time you show it on your Instagram, I'm like, it makes me giddy every time I see it because it's always a good reminder of that those exist. I feel like it's easy to forget. So thank you for doing the Lord's work and reminding us that that exists out there.
Absolutely. And I am an Equal Eats trailblazer this past couple months. And so I am an affiliate, and I have a code Sarah for 10% off of your purchases. And it's, yeah, really helped me. Really love them.
Love that. I love that. So another thing that you've been kind of bringing up of how much you share on social media, and I know that you're a couple weeks delayed in when you share your content for one of the reasons being safety, which I think is such a smart idea, and I should probably do that, and I don't. How do you decide what you share out in public versus what's just for you and your family and friends to share when you're telling your stories about what gets put out in the
Yeah.
internet forever?
Yeah, the internet and social media is a crazy place, and I think it is such a fantastic tool. I think, although when I was first diagnosed, I had people to connect with, I have way more people we've met through social media in this crazy celiac world. So it has so many benefits, but I also think it has cons, and
Mm.
I have to be really mindful about what I'm posting and, yeah, what I'm sharing. So I definitely, it's hard because I definitely share a lot of food, and it's easy for me to mentally just share everything about the food because, we're all in this together. No one else gets it quite like we do. And I want to, help people out. So I love doing that. But other things like beyond that, just living, I definitely keep more of those to myself because it can't all be out there for the world. That's just
Yeah.
not my preferred way to live. But yeah, sharing the food and everything is so easy and natural to me. I love doing that on short form. I do things across different platforms. I've recently really gotten back into YouTube, and so that shares a little bit more, but it feels really manageable to talk about what I'm doing in more of a vlog style format when it's surrounding the restaurants. And, you're coming with me to eat dinner. I'm yapping while I'm eating some delicious gluten free Thai food, and we're just having a good time. Like on a long form, I can convey more of the nuances with celiac travel on like a YouTube video than I can on an Instagram 10-second video or post. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely a balance to be had, and it's different across platforms.
My favorite thing about sitting next to you and KJ while you're having dinner is that you're taking people like around your plate. It's kind of like if anybody knows Kara and Nate of the travel influencers, when Kara like takes you through the airplane and like the seat configurations, that's you, but talking about the food on your plate. And it's really entertaining.
The most important part of any travel is the food.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
I always have, because I know that you've gotten to do some of the cooler ways of traveling. So, and I'm fascinated by that. And I will save those types of tips and tricks of how you do the fancy airplane stuff for my own purposes off camera, because I'm selfish like that. But what are your top tips and tricks for traveling with celiac disease?
So many. um, Always having snacks. I have my purse right next to me, and it has a granola bar in it that's pretty smushed, honestly. It's been in some hot environments, and it's been in my purse for quite a few weeks. So I feel like I should probably switch it out. but I always have it on
No.
me because I'd rather have a smushed granola bar than nothing, or being a hangry. I try not to get hangry when we're traveling so much, but it's hard and you can't always plan for that. So I always have snacks on me. Planning meals way ahead of time, planning, even though it doesn't always go to plan, always makes me feel better. I do a lot of research. I feel like I didn't talk too much about that when I was saying how I pick a destination, but sometimes destinations are picked because they have amazing gluten free options, and sometimes other places are picked because they have one gluten free option, and I will be able to experience a country and I will eat something. It might not be because it's like the safest and the most delicious, but it's like possible. So that research ahead of time is beyond important. Booking your gluten-free meal on an airplane ahead of time is amazing. And also just the tool of your mind is so important. People have had bad experiences on planes before, and I think you just need to be really analytical too. Obviously mistakes happen, and that is really my worst nightmare, but knock on all the wood, I've never been glutened by an airline. That sounds awful. But if I get
Yeah.
unmarked bread on my plate, I'm not eating that bread. So
Right.
always keeping it. It's a hard hat to always be wearing, but always critiquing and making sure you feel safe and feeling
Yeah.
like, you know, confident enough that you can make those decisions and communicate your needs. Have those allergen cards. Use the Find Me Gluten Free app. Research things online ahead of time. All of these are just tools in your toolkit to then, you know, experience gluten free travel and adjusting your mindset, because I had traveled before celiac and it's a
Yeah.
different experience. You just have to think
Right.
about all of these things, and you'll have a better time if you release those expectations of like, oh yeah, I can just, go out and grab something to eat. Like, maybe that would
Yeah.
be a lucky time, but you probably will have to do a lot more work than that, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm like exhausted. I'm exhausted experiencing it, and it's exhausting like listening to someone else of all the thoughts that go through their head too. And it's just, man, we're titans. Everybody
It's
with
a
the
lot
food
of
thing.
brain space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People are like, Ashley, your memory's not as good as it used to be. I was like, yeah, because it's always working. Like it's always doing things.
Accurate.
I'm tired now.
I'm tired of this,
What?
Grandpa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Too damn bad.
I love it.
What? Yeah. What is this is my last big question for you, and then I'm gonna have to let you go after the rapid fire, unfortunately, because I guess the time does have to end at some point. But what is the most rewarding part with everything that you do with traveling and sharing in those experiences?
Oh, so many things. And I know we had literally just talked about all the brain space that it takes, but I think that honestly increases my appreciation for a place that I'm visiting, and it
Mm,
puts me out of a comfort zone in a way that I'm honestly experiencing the place differently, and being able to experience things through food is really it's a lot. It requires a lot of brain space, but it's really beautiful. And when you connect with people across the world that are doing
right.
a gluten-free meal and they have a connection to it. I just went to a restaurant last night and his daughter has celiac. Like, meeting people like that, it goes deep, and I think I'm able to have a deeper appreciation for travel and experiencing a place because of that. I've also had to travel really far to get to a gluten-free bakery, which really puts me in a different environment, and I wouldn't have seen that local area if I didn't need to go get a
Mhm.
gluten free sandwich, because I, of course, needed to go get a gluten free sandwich. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and traveling just as a whole, anyone that loves to travel, I know you do too, it expands your worldview, it expands your life. It's so beautiful. And to experience awe and to see beautiful nature and talk to amazing people and see cool places, it's just, you know, worth all of the hassle of celiac and gluten free. And yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I could talk to you all day and I can't wait. I'm so excited to be able to travel with you guys again because I know that it's happening. It's on the books. It's happening, whether you want it or
Mm-hmm.
not. But
Absolutely.
yes, before I let you go, just some fun rapid fire questions we ask at the end of every episode. But this is the Gluten Free Advocate. So I do have to ask, when do you find yourself needing to advocate for yourself the most?
Absolutely. I think obviously right now is a little biased of this question when I'm traveling in
Yeah.
different Asian countries generally, or traveling to a country where it's really a different language barrier and just less awareness. That's definitely when I'm communicating and really advocating for myself. And you, I have to give a shout out to your account in this podcast, and just talking about advocating for yourself and others is so beautiful. And the more to loop in the community, the more we can do for each other and advocate for ourselves, and then
Yeah.
share how we advocate for ourselves too is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I love that question.
Yeah. Yeah. So now more fun ones. So where, in your opinion, is the city with the best gluten-free food?
Now that is an unfair question because there's a lot of places.
You can give more
I
than
don't know
one.
how.
I'll.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to choose one. I think, as a generalization, bigger cities usually have more places to eat gluten free. So I think a lot of my answers are going to tend to lean towards those. But in the
That's
US,
okay.
I've lived in Boston and Chicago, so I have to shout those out. And then New York City is obviously incredible. And then to go abroad, I mean, Italy as a country is amazing, but I
Yep.
love Florence specifically.
Mm,
I've
yep.
definitely gone back to Italy just to eat at Mr. Pizza there. And then Australia, where we've gotten to travel together for the Celiac cruise, but also when we got off the Celiac cruise, Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, all of those, honestly, yeah, a lot of cities there have been fantastic. So, and then I don't know, going back to Europe, Prague was awesome, Budapest was awesome. Like, there's some cities and places that have amazing gluten-free restaurants and like a lot of them. So, yeah, you'd
Yep.
be surprised. There's
Yeah.
so many good spots.
By the way, we need to figure out how to go to Australia. I need to do Australia through you as a tour guide. I feel like you know
That'd be
what's
so
up.
fun.
It would
We need to
be.
run it back.
Uh, yeah, yeah. One more time. Take it from the top. So where is your favorite city for exploring? It could be country too. We could do it that way for you.
That is such a good one. Hmm. Also a hard thing to answer, but I'm also going to do some recency bias with we did go to New Zealand at our time being in Australia as well. And New Zealand was just an incredible country to visit. We did a road trip from the North Island to the South Island and really got to see the country and did some incredible hikes. So I feel like that is a beautiful country for exploring. And then also, I've recently been to Japan, and it was my second visit to Japan. And I thought it was amazing for exploring. I feel like, yeah, there were so many gluten free restaurants and also not that many. And so it was really like an adventure too. And really cool cities, really cool. We did an onsen experience, which was
Okay.
awesome. So there were just a lot of nature to see. Yeah, there's so many places to explore. I could go on and on.
And then where is the city that you learned the most about yourself?
Ooh, I don't know if there's a particular city, and I'm sure I'll have a different answer by the end of this year after the world trip has
Yes.
ended. But I will say that this specific world trip of full time traveling, I've learned more about myself in the past few months than I have, just visiting one place. So it's really a different experience, and you really get to know yourself pretty deeply.
Yeah.
And intensely when you're traveling, and then full-time traveling is just a different level. So yeah, on this world trip for sure. We'll have to do another one next year and see how that question my answer has changed.
Oh, yes. Oh gosh, I can't wait to hear all about it and continue following it. So, speaking of following it, I want more and more people to be part of that journey with you. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, come along. It's Celiac Sarah Explores on across all platforms, primarily Instagram and YouTube. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook as well.
I am so happy that you came on this, Sarah, and thank you so much for doing this. This was a huge favor from you, so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And this was not enough time, so we have to do without a microphone uh, and chat and catch up.
Absolutely. Yes, and this was such an honor to be here. It's great having gotten to know you this year and be on the podcast and just share so many similarities about gluten-free travel. It's a good company to be in.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, till next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me this week for an episode of the Gluten Free Advocate. For more information on what's discussed on the podcast, check out the episode description and or my Substack, The Gluten Free Advocate. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Till next time. This episode is produced by Leigh Francis Productions.